What's up, guys? Welcome to the official first episode of the Mr. CPA podcast. I am your host, Bryan Carreto, and on this podcast, we discuss all things accounting, business, personal finance, and personal development. Today, we're going to go over two really important topics. Given that the time is January, a lot of you are starting your careers in public accounting or maybe going through your first busy season. So today, we're going to discuss how to properly prepare for busy season, how to give you the most chances for success, and also my best tips and tricks and just best advice when you're barely maybe starting your career in public accounting, or maybe you're listening to this podcast and you just, have another job or another career, or maybe you're an engineer or whatever it is that you do. Hopefully you can get something from this podcast that will help you, especially when you're first starting out your career. So the first thing we're going to go over is how to prepare for busy season. I think there's a few things I'm going to go over today that are going to help you do this. But the number one thing you have to do is you have to set expectations right off the bat. I think that the best thing you can do is let your family and friends and close people know that you're going to be working a certain amount of hours, especially in public accounting. A lot of the professional firms require that staff, managers, partners, that we work a certain amount of hours each week. Typically this is between 55 upwards of 60, 65, wherever it is that you are. That's typically what firms require of their staff. And I know this can seem like a lot and this can seem really tough. But I think if you set expectations from the get-go, I think you're just going to set yourself up for success. I would let your family and friends know that, hey, look, this is the time period of my life that I'm going into. And a lot of people, believe it or not, they kind of won't understand what you're going into and what your goals are and how difficult it can be. I can tell you for a fact that my first year in public accounting, it was almost impossible. I lived at home at the time. And it was almost impossible to get my parents to understand that, like, how much I was working. And they would always say, like, oh, yeah, you can come do these things, you come do those things. And I just wouldn't. And I remember I would try to plan things during the week sometimes. And I would just end up being more resentful towards the job and towards everyone else and towards my work and towards my managers because of certain things that I couldn't go to. But it's the nature of the beast. It's what you're getting into. It's the nature of the beast. And I would just set expectations right away and just know that for, a few months, out of the year for this time period, it's going to be difficult for you to go to certain things because of the amount of workload that it's going to take. So as long as you can go into busy season with the right mindset and knowing that, hey, these are the expectations, this is what's expected of me during this, short time period. Hopefully your busy season doesn't extend that long. I feel like people are going to know, and your close friends and family that matter the most, they'll start to understand. And eventually, if you don't make those plans or you don't set expectations way too high, you yourself will be happier with the work you do. And when you do make time for the things that, make you happy or whatever, that's already planned in. So you already know that you are going to be able to make it to those things, and be very adamant about the things that are really important to you. The second thing that I think that's going to help you guys prepare for busy season is that work from home is here to stay. If you follow my YouTube channel, I definitely am dropping a video this week specifically on how to set up your workplace for success. Work from home is here to stay. That's my personal opinion. I don't think it's going anywhere. Even when we're through this whole pandemic, I think work from home is going to be a staple in just professional, especially jobs like a CPA, engineering, certain things of that nature. I really feel like work from home is here to stay. That being said, you need to make sure that you have a great office space or some type of workspace at home that sets you up for success. Now I know, and I'm fully aware that some people, especially maybe the younger staff or people that are just getting out of college, maybe you don't have the best situation at home. Maybe you don't have the best workspace. Maybe you share a room. Maybe you have roommates. Whatever the case may be, know ahead of time that you're definitely going to need some type of space where you're going to be able to work, and preferably a quiet space. If you don't have something at home, I recommend you go to your local library. I'll be honest with you, I think coffee shops, unless you're doing work where you're not going to have to talk to people, or you know for a fact it's just going to be you and you can put some noise canceling headphones on, like the ones I have right now. If you know you can put some noise canceling headphones on and just get to work, then sure, maybe go to a coffee shop. But my best recommendation is plan ahead. Know where you're going to be working at. Maybe you can find some little quiet space in your house and you're going to have a little desk where you put your 2 little monitors, and that's where you're going to get your work done. Make sure you set up your place for success. That's so important. Especially, like I said, now that we live in this work from home environment, it's not going anywhere. So I would start planning ahead and start thinking, all right, where am I going to be able to get the most amount of work done? Where am I going to be productive? Where am I going to be able to execute on the tasks that are given to me every single day? And now that we're on the topic of work from home is a big blessing. When I started my career in public accounting, there was no work from home. There was, your butt is in the office. Unless you're on a client, your butt's in the office. So now that you get to work from home, consider that a really big plus, especially for the younger staff. That was a big no-no up in just a few years ago. That was absolutely unheard of. And now that, even first level 1 associates are able to work from home, I think there's a big upside. But that being said, whenever there's a lot of upside, there's a lot of downside. And the big downside for me, the work from home environment, is that it can be that you never turn off, you never unplug, you never stop working. And I know that, especially when you're young in your career, you want to do the best you can. You want to work hard. You want to show your managers that you're a team player. But my best advice is that you need to have hard stops. You need to have a hard deadline. And I know it can be really tough to speak up, because I know I wasn't the type of person to do that, especially when I was young in my career. But you really need to set boundaries for yourself. Like, hey, from 12:30 to 1, I have lunch, or 12 to 1, I have lunch. And from 7 to 8:30, I have my dinner and I do a little workout or whatever. That's your time. And especially now, again, that we work from home, that time you spent commuting, spend time on yourself, spend time doing things that you enjoy doing. Again, you're going to be expected to work a certain amount of hours each week. That can be really tough and really stressful. Trust me, I've been through it. But that being said, I feel like if you plan ahead and you have those really hard boundaries and those hard stops, and you make your team, your manager, your partner, your senior, you make them fully aware of your schedule, of what you're doing, I highly doubt anyone's going to have a problem with you having dinner and going to the gym or working out at home, or whatever it is that you do, spending time with your kids or your loved ones from 7 to 8:30, and logging on after that time. But again, I think the biggest thing is that you need to set boundaries for yourself, because there was even when the pandemic just started, I remember, work from home was a new thing. And there were times when I would not turn off at all. Like, I legit would always be working. I would work, I'd get up, I'd work all day. And then, I'd be laying in bed and be like midnight, 1 o'clock. And I'm like checking email and seeing if anything else came in. And honestly, it's just really unhealthy to do that. I can tell you from personal experience, it was really tough and it was not fun to go through that. So that being said, set hard boundaries for yourself and do not budge. Do not budge on them. And trust me when I tell you, especially now that I feel like a lot more people, a lot more managers, and even senior management, we're all kind of aware of what's going on in this whole work from home environment. And now people are a lot more understanding of certain things that you have going on. Again, that being said, there's limits, right? You can't say, hey, I'm not going to work from, 3 to 9 p.m., be reasonable at the same time, but set boundaries for yourself. Another thing you guys need to do, maintain your hobbies. Again, I know you're going to be working the majority of the time, and again, set expectations for yourself. Don't be unrealistic. Don't spread yourself too thin, but maintain your hobbies as much as you can. If you like working out, try to maintain a workout schedule. If you like going to play, baseball with your kids or whatever, save Sunday where you take 1 day off a week. That's another thing too. Make sure you guys take at least 1 day off a week. I know it can be really, I know it sounds really dumb to you right now, maybe if you haven't gone through a busy season at all, but it's very tempting sometimes to just open your email or open your laptop. Unplug for at least a day a week, guys. Preferably, typically when I would run my jobs, I would say, hey guys, the weekend, you guys can work either Saturday or Sunday. Again, that's really up to your manager and your senior management on your team. That being said, try to find a day where you really, unplug, spend some time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, whatever's most important to you. Try to maintain your hobbies. If it's playing a sport, unfortunately, maybe you won't be able to make it during the week, but maybe you can try to find some team on the weekend or whatever it is that you like doing. Maintain your hobbies, because then that will make you less resentful towards the work, because the more that you can't do what truly, truly deeply intrinsically makes you happy, the less you're going to be happy at work, regardless of whatever it is that you do. And my thing, another, I guess the fifth thing or another thing that you can do during busy season is stick to some type of exercise routine. I cannot stress this enough. I'm a big proponent. I'll be honest with you, if you follow me on Instagram, you'll see that since this year started, it's January 8th today that I'm recording this, but I know it's only been 8 days. But, one thing that I will say that even I, looking back at my own professional career, I wish I would have been a little bit more, more military about my exercise routine. Even though I've gone pretty consistently, I feel like I could have been better, and I could have even reaped the benefits even more. I can tell you for a fact that exercise is the number one thing why I stay healthy, I stay happy, I stay overall fulfilled just with myself, because exercise is just so important. And then I won't go into the science of why, but I can tell you from anecdotal experience myself that when I'm not working out, I can tell there's certain busy seasons when I didn't train, I didn't exercise, and I just felt sluggish. I felt unhappy. I felt like I wasn't producing my best work. And I would think that, oh no, maybe working an additional 45 minutes instead of going to, go walk a lap and do some push-ups. Instead of doing that, I'll work. And honestly, I think the ROI is just so much better spent those 45 minutes, exercising or sticking to some type of exercise routine, specifically when you're working so much, just to stay mentally clear and to be able to produce the best amount of work possible. So stick to some type of exercise routine, whatever that is. Maybe you like lifting weights, maybe you like running, maybe you like, I don't know, biking, whatever it is that you like doing, just stick to that. Another thing you guys need to do, avoid the first year weight gain. It's going to be really tempting a lot during these times. A lot of firms will subsidize your food, your meals, your snacks, and it can be really tempting for you to snack all day. Please try to avoid that. Believe me when I tell you guys, it's not a very fun feeling where you go into busy season in mid-January, late January, and you come out in May and you see that you gained a few pounds. And it's not really a good feeling, and especially when you're maybe clothes that fit you a few months ago don't fit you anymore. That's not a good feeling, guys. So do your best to stay as disciplined as you can with what goes into your mouth. Seriously, I cannot stress this enough. I've gone through a few busy seasons where I've been really good, and just looking back at all the busy seasons I went through, when I was happiest, when I felt most fulfilled, when I was a lot more disciplined in what went into my mouth, what I ate, and especially back when I was younger, in my younger years in public accounting, we'd be in the audit room at 8 p.m. and we'd oh my god, we'd order this freaking pizza at 8 or 9 p.m. And I swear to you, nothing would get done by anyone after that time, because everyone's just falling asleep. Don't do that to yourself, guys. Honestly, don't be ordering pasta at 7 p.m. Don't be ordering bad food that's going to make you feel bad, bloated, puffy, and just make you feel like overall crap. Eat stuff, especially during, this should go for your overall just personal life, but especially during busy season, guys, you want to be just as efficient, as productive as you can, as mentally clear. So during this time, try to eat not as light as you can, but try to eat good, healthy meals where you actually feel good after. You guys know what I'm talking about. When you eat a certain meal and you don't really feel good after, and you're kind of queasy in your stomach, and you kind of just feel like sleeping. Try to avoid those foods, because like I said, you're going to be expected to produce a certain amount of output. And if you can do that in the most minimal amount of time, you won't catch yourself working at 2 a.m. And I guess the final thing to mentally prepare or get ready for busy season is that consider especially in your younger years, consider each busy season like an investment in yourself. Consider it like an extended MBA program where you're actually making money and not paying, an absorbent amount of cash for these classes. It's really a training ground, especially in your younger years. It'll really, if you take advantage of busy season as much as it takes advantage of you, you will really reap the benefits of going through the hours and the days and the nights whereby it can get really tough and really stressful. So again, I feel like if you consider it more as an investment in yourself, and I know for a fact that the firms are squeezing you guys for everything they can, and I get that. But that being said, you with your same token should look at it like, hey, I'm going to use the firm and their resources for everything I can for my own personal benefit, because there's going to come a point in time in your career where you go through a few busy seasons and then you're like, okay, I feel pretty self-sufficient now. I'm very confident in my skills and my abilities and what I can do, that maybe I want to try something else. Maybe I want to take my skills elsewhere. And trust me when I tell you that day is going to come. But that being said, consider especially at the beginning, those few first busy seasons, consider them more of an investment in yourself. And I know this can be really tough, but really consider it an investment in yourself and your own personal growth. Because one day, like I said, after a few busy seasons, you're going to go through it and you're going to think to yourself, okay, maybe there's something else I can do, or maybe I want to, be a partner, or whatever the case may be. Consider it an investment in yourself. And I guess the last thing, I think I already said last thing, but I guess the last thing for busy season is really to have a North Star. And honestly, this bleeds a lot more into your own personal life as well. Have a North Star, guys. Have something that you're striving for. Honestly, when I was in my younger years in my career, everyone had kind of made fun of me, but my goal was to be a partner. And that really helped me get through a lot of the tough days that you're going to go through. Oh, 100%. There's going to be days where you're going to like, oh my gosh, I can't do this anymore. This is horrible. I hate this. I didn't sign up for this. And I totally get that. But know that if you have a certain goal, a certain North Star that you're shooting for, that you see a few years, a decade down the road, it's going to help you get through those tough days where you feel like, you have nothing left. And you get some sudden source of energy and motivation and thrill, because you know that what you're going through right now is for a bigger cause. So yeah, that's kind of my best advice on best practices on how to start preparing for busy season. And the second main topic I want to discuss today is my best advice when starting public accounting. I know a lot of people had a late start and they're starting now in January. A lot of you started in October or November, maybe some of you watching this podcast. And there's really three main things that I always told my younger staff that you need to do when you're just starting out in your career is that the first thing, you need to have a great attitude. Having a great attitude will take you so far. Trust me. When I started my career, I didn't know left from right. But the one thing I did, I was always happy-go-lucky. I was always ready, willing, and able to do whatever it is was asked of me. And everything for me was a learning experience. Everything for me was I was gaining. Every time I would do something, I would ask myself, not what am I getting, but what am I becoming? Because trust me, the money will come. The money will come. I've been able to double my salary essentially every 5 years since I started working. And it's been going really, really well for me so far. And I've always thought to myself, what am I becoming? Not what am I getting? Because eventually when you become of enough value to the marketplace, you will get paid in equal exchange to the amount of value you bring. And that value will come, and you'll become more valuable as a professional with the more you learn and the more you go through. So that being said, having a great attitude with everything, people will just like you. People will want you on their teams. People will want to work with you. No one likes to work with a Debbie Downer, trust me. And the thing with public accounting and the thing with firms is that word gets around really quickly, especially younger staff or people that are are working on jobs, managers talk and everyone talks and everyone will say, like, oh yeah, that guy's really good. He's really good to work with. He's super cool. Or, oh yeah, that guy's he's a Debbie Downer. He's always like, every time we assign him something, he never wants to do it. Don't be that person, because trust me, your reputation will precede you. The second thing you need to do, my second best advice when you're starting your career in public accounting is have a great work ethic. Know for a fact that everyone you started with is essentially in some form of competition with you. And that's a good thing. That should be a healthy thing. When I started my career, there was one guy that's actually still one of my best friends. And he was always a lot smarter than I was. But honestly, by me hanging out with him and me, in essence, kind of competing with him, it made me an overall better professional, and it always made me level up. I always kind of looked up to him and how he analyzed certain things and how he did certain things. That I'm like, man, that guy's really good. Like, I need to level myself up. And this also goes, in your personal life. The harder you work, the better work ethic you have, the luckier you're going to get. And that being said, if you have a good work ethic, that's also going to go really far, because at the beginning, you're not going to really know too much other than what you learned in college. And having that great work ethic and that great attitude, those two coupled together, I'm telling you, give yourself a few months, a year, and you're going to be an absolute monster when it comes to debits and credits. And the last thing I would say, the third advice I always gave to my associates is that don't be too hard on yourself, guys. Seriously, you just graduated college. A lot of you, if you were like me, I was 22 years old when I started my career. I was a child. I was a kid. I didn't know left from right. I didn't know anything. I'm a 30-year-old man now, and I can tell you 8 years ago, I was a very confused young dude. And that being said, there was a lot of times where I was very hard on myself for certain things that I didn't know, certain things that were assigned to me that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what this is. And that's okay. That's okay. Trust me. This is your time to learn. Especially, I will say this, you're in public accounting, your first 2 years, soak it in. Any experience you get on, go take it. Any client they tell you to go do it. This is your time to learn, guys. Your first 2 years, it's like you kind of get a freebie for asking, I guess, no such thing as a dumb question, but dumb questions, what may be dumb to someone else, but for you is extremely hard. That's okay. This is your time to ask. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. This is a time where no one, I promise you, no one is going to, and don't take this the wrong way, but no one's going to expect that much out of you in the beginning. You're like a sponge. Soak up the experience. Like I said earlier before, I know these firms will work you to death, but that being said, try to get as much from them as they get from you. Again, you always have to put yourself first. You are there to build yourself as a professional. If for whatever reason that firm, that job, that business is helping you achieve your personal and professional goals, then great, stay there. But if they're not, then there's no hard feelings. Move on. It's really that simple, guys. At the end of the day, you are number one. You own your career, and only you have to go to bed with you at night. So you need to live with your decisions, and you're investing in yourself at this point in your career. I mean, that goes for any point in your career, but specifically when you're just starting out in your career in public accounting, don't be so hard on yourself. Soak it all in. Have a great attitude. Work extra hard, and really enjoy these years. Because I'm telling you guys, those first few years in public accounting, I look back at them now and they were the most beautiful, honestly. They were, I look back at them and I get super happy and super thrilled to see just how far I've come because of the work that I've been able to put in. But all right, guys, that's going to be it for the podcast. Again, this is the first podcast of the Mr. CPA podcast, and I hope you guys got some value from it. Again, this podcast will be uploaded on anywhere you find your podcast, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, if you want to watch it in video on YouTube. And until next time, work hard, dress well, peace.